Ladies and gentlemen, our program will begin in 15 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the State of the University Address. Please welcome University of Tennessee Interim President, Randy Boyd.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everyone. Well, first off, thank all of you for making the trip over and being part of this today. It's going to be a really exciting day. We got some exciting things to share, so we'll make it worth your while, and I appreciate you taking the time to come. Also, I want to say thank you to the library for hosting us. So we really appreciate them allowing us to use this facility. And my great friend, Michael Strickland with Bandit Lights provided all the lighting. So if we look good, it's because Michael did it for us, and also a UT alum, 1977. Thank you, Michael. And I also just want to say thank you to everybody in the University of Tennessee family for giving me this opportunity and this honor of being able to serve my alma mater. I can't tell you how much it means to me. It's such a responsibility, but it's such an honor, and I cherish it every day and remind myself every day of how important it is to do this job well. For me, I think some of you know this, but I was born in South Knoxville, actually literally in the Baptist Hospital in the shadow of Neyland Stadium. And at an early age, I remember my granddad taking me to football games at Neyland Stadium, and he dreamed of me being on the football field. I was unfortunately too small, too slow, and too untalented to make the team. But they still accepted me later on anyway. And when it came time to go to university, nobody in my family's history had ever gone to a university, had ever gotten a college degree. And I remember having the conversation with my dad. He said, you know, son, I can give you a job in the factory right now. There's really no sense in you wasting your time going to a college. But my granddad, my parent, my mom, and others, myself, thought it was important. So I went, and it's the best decision I ever made. I look back on my life, and everything has revolved around the University of Tennessee, not just the education, but afterwards, all the other interactions, and even today. So it's an honor, but it's also a great opportunity to try to give back to my alma mater. So again, I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to do this. Well, today I want to answer 4 questions. The second question will be, how is the university doing? The third question will be, what do we got planned for the future? And the fourth question is the answer to the announcement that we've been talking to you about. I'm making that last, so you'll have to hang around for the rest of the stuff. The first question I'm going to answer is the question that I've been getting for the last 107 days. Today's day 107, but who's counting? For the last 107 days, every day nearly somebody asked me, well, isn't this like drinking from a fire hose? I put this in a memo about a month ago and answered it this way. Well, actually, I should also, maybe in full disclosure, tell you over the last 7 days, that hasn't actually been the question. For the last 7 days, the question has been, can you get me some tickets to the SEC tournament? And for those that are wanting to know that, no, I can't. They've all been given away. But the answer to the other question is, yes, it is like drinking from a fire hose, but a fire hose that's spewing Red Bull. And I say it because everywhere you go, you get so energized. Everywhere you look, everywhere you look at UT, you get energized and inspired. And every single day that happens. Today, we just had a lunch with all of our faculty, or some of our faculty winners, the President's Award winners, and all of them are doing such amazing things. I knew a little bit about some of the things, but to hear the full story is inspiring. And again, every day you go across the University of Tennessee system, you find something that energizes you and inspires you. So I thought maybe I'd take a moment to start off with and just go across the state and share with you a few of the experiences over the first 107 days, and maybe there will be a few things that you didn't know about UT that I can share with you. So we start with the West. Start with the UT Health Science Center, led by Chancellor Steve Schwab. And you may not know this, but 70% of all of our doctors and dentists come from the Health Science Center. They have a $4 billion impact in the city of Memphis. So they're making an impact in multiple ways. But they're also doing so many other things, too. Just this past February, in the Give Kids a Smile program, pharmacists or dental students and faculty provided free dental care to 968 young people that needed dental care. Just in so many ways, they're making an impact there in that community. A little further west, you go to UT Martin. My family is from Northwest Tennessee, and I can tell you if it wasn't for UT Martin, I can't imagine what Northwest Tennessee would be like. Our rural communities need that institution, and they're doing such an incredible job and changing lives of so many people there. But they also do a fantastic job of outreach, have one of the best online MBA programs in the country. They also have satellite campuses, something I wasn't aware of until this year. We have a satellite campus in Ripley, in Somerville, in Selmer, in Jackson, and a little town of Parsons in Decatur County. If you haven't been to Decatur County, it's one of the poorest counties in the state. only beaten by the next county beside it, which is Perry County, in the little town of Linden in Perry County. By the way, if you haven't been to Linden, it's the only capital seat in the state of Tennessee that doesn't have a single 4-lane going to it, all just 1 lanes. And they complain about that a lot if you go to Linden. But I share that because in Perry County, a lot of young people just don't see a path to higher education. A great friend of mine, a young man named Alec Richardson, was an assistant of mine over the last 2 years. And he got his college degree by first going to the UT Martin campus in Parsons. He went there for 2 years, and then he transferred for his last 2 years to UT Martin. If it hadn't been for that, I don't think he would have found a pathway forward. Because of his education, he got a mediocre job with me as a personal assistant for 1.5 years, and then he got a big promotion. He is now the executive assistant for Governor Lee, working in the Capitol, all because of UT Martin and because of the access they provide this young man. A little further west, you go to the UT Space Institute in Tullahoma. And if you haven't been there, it's an amazing place with a lot of really smart people that gave me about a 6-hour presentation about 2 months ago, of which almost none of it I understood. But it was really impressive, and I share a couple of little tidbits that you should know. And UT Space Institute is leading the world in these two technologies. We're leading the world in hypersonics. So what I took away from it was, one day, because of their work, we'll be able to travel at Mach 9 and go from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco in 15 minutes, all because of UT scientists. They're also doing work on nuclear propulsion. So if you've ever thought about going to Mars, anybody ever thought about going to Mars? A few people? Somebody help me out. That person, we had one person that wanted to go to Mars, but you probably don't want to go to Mars because it takes so long. If you haven't heard, it takes like 18 months each way to go to Mars. So a round trip is like 36 months, but if you're in space for 5 years, you die from radiation. So it's kind of important to get there quickly. Well, UT Space Institute is working on nuclear propulsion, which can get us there in 3 months versus the 18 months. Only at the UT Space Institute are they doing that kind of work. Again, just amazing things. A little further east, we get to Oak Ridge National Labs, and it's one of the, no, I made a mistake, not one of the best national labs in the country, the best national lab in the country. And they're doing just incredible work in so many areas, but one of the things that they're working on now that you may have heard of is the next fastest computer in the world. They had the fastest computer before. Now we're going to create a new computer, which will be done in a few years. It's important for us to win this race to have the first exascale computer for national security, and we're racing other countries to get there. If we win, it's because of Oak Ridge National Labs and our partnership with them. This new computer, by the way, is the first exascale computer in the history of the world. And how many people know what an exascale computer is? 3, because maybe you've heard me share this before. So I just found out just this past month. So if nothing else you get from today, you'll know the definition of an exascale computer. So a calculation is like 2 times 6. An exascale computer can do 1 billion times 1 billion calculations per second, 10 to the 18th power. So it's really fast. Amazing things that we're doing there as a part of that partnership. Go to University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, setting records for graduation rates and doing so many great things for the city of Chattanooga. One of the things I was really impressed with when I met their engineering department not too long ago was some of the work they're doing around rocketry. They have a rocketry club that had a competition, a national competition, where they were trying to compete with universities like MIT and universities like Georgia Tech. And they beat all those schools by a mile, literally by a mile, being able to send their rocket into space a mile higher than anybody else. Just amazing things that they're doing down there in the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Back in Knoxville, my alma mater, so many records, but I'll share a couple things. One, we had 19 Fulbright scholars last year. That's a record number of Fulbright, or one of the highest Fulbright scholars in the country, competing against universities like Harvard. We're up in the top echelons. I get to tour a lot of the governor's chairs throughout the campus, and again, every day we get to be inspired by some of the things that the faculty and the students are doing. But about a month ago, I got to go visit Dr. Yilu Yu, and she was here earlier. Maybe she, oh, there you are. And she just blew me away with some of the technology and the things they were working at, but most importantly, the students that shared that technology and made that presentation. One of the things that they're managing is a monitoring system for the electric grid across the United States. Now, KUB and NES and all the other electric companies in the country all monitor their own electric grid. but only at the University of Tennessee do we monitor the entire national grid. And we can see electricity moving around all across the country and see where it's ebbing and where it's increasing. And it's pretty fascinating work, and they can anticipate problems that we might have. And they can also do some analysis that nobody else can do. I happen to remember the presentation, the day of the presentation. It was the day after the Super Bowl on Monday morning, because the young ladies that were presenting it let me know that usually everything's very random, but the one time that everything is synchronous across the country is during the Super Bowl. And they actually put up a video. So it turns out they had a video of when Beyonce did her halftime show. And the minute her halftime show stopped, there was a spike in electricity because everybody went to the bathroom or to the refrigerator. But you could literally see that. Only at the University of Tennessee can we do that. We have the Institute of Public Service. A lot of people don't know enough about this, but we have people all across the state that train city and county leaders, providing them the necessary education they need to be able to do their job. They have programs or teams that are providing asset mapping and providing our rural counties with the assets and the strategy they need to be able to improve. A lot of things our Institute of Public Service does, unsung heroes in our system. And finally, the University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture is doing amazing things from agriculture to ag research. But one of the things that I think I was most surprised by in the last couple of months was the Institute of Ag's extension offices. Of course, we have an extension office in all 95 counties. And one of the things they're responsible for is managing the 4-H clubs. Turns out that we have 186,000 students across the state of Tennessee in our 4-H club programs. And they're great programs. They're teaching them speaking and civic engagement and a whole range of really necessary things. And it also turns out that we have the largest 4-H club program in America, all here in Tennessee, all led by the University of Tennessee. And I could go on and on. It's my favorite part of talking about this, the university, and the favorite part about this job is just all the inspiring things that you see everywhere you look with the University of Tennessee. And if you add all that up, we're doing what you would expect us to do. We're educating 51,000 students right now all across the system. More importantly, we're graduating them. Last year, we had a record graduation of about 11,820 students, which is a record number of students that we turned out into the state to help improve our economy and our society. And we're doing better every year. Our graduation rate last year was at record highs at all of our campuses. Martin and Chattanooga had 47.7% six-year graduation rates. Knoxville had a 72.5% graduation rate, all the record graduation rates. So we're not only just bringing students in, but we're giving them the tools they need to be successful in graduating them. I didn't mention the Health Science Center. They kind of blow the curve, but I can't help but say, since Steve is looking at me, that our Chancellor Schwab, that they also had a 96% graduation rate. So they're doing pretty well there in Memphis as well. Last year we had a record in the number of donors. We had a record in the number of donations, $397 million in donations last year, $417 million in research, which is also a record in research. Everywhere you look, we're having a success throughout the system. This year, the governor gave us a new budget. He also gave us a record budget, so it puts us in a good position for the future. $642 million budget, $81 million for a new building in our agricultural campus, $17.7 million in raises for our teachers, $10 million for a new security system. So if we ever had an active shooter, we would be able to lock down all the doors all across the system anywhere in the state because of this new grant. And then really, very importantly, we got an extra almost $10 million to be able to create new programming, or at least this is proposed by the governor, proposed to be able to provide primary care physicians in our rural communities, more general medical education. Now, the governor proposed these things. We have some of our great friends in the legislature here, and we would beg you to support the governor in his program. But it was very generous, and we're very excited about the position that they put us in. We have had some problems, and I would be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge those. In this last 90 days at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, we've had a couple of incidents at minimum, maybe more, but at least two. They've got a lot of state and national attention where we've had students, some on the campus, maybe people from off the campus, make racist comments or racist statements. And that's not who we are. We don't tolerate that at the University of Tennessee anywhere. Had a meeting with some students the other day, and we talked about the situation, and I was really proud of the response. Yes, there's a lot of emotion, a lot of frustration, a lot of fear, but there's also a lot of determination to fix this, to make it better. And we talked about this and said, you know, racism didn't start at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Racism didn't start in Tennessee. It didn't start in America. It's been going on from the beginning of time, and it's still global. So it didn't begin at the University of Tennessee, but maybe this could be the beginning of the end. And if we work together, I think we can do something transformative. We can take something that was very bad, that was tragic, and turn it into something great. And we're determined to work all together, our faculty, our staff, our students, our administration, to turn this around and make a difference. Thank you. Thank you. So the third question is, where are we going to go from here? I'm going to talk about our 6 objectives, but I'm going to talk about them briefly because as I look around the room, most of you have heard me share these before. Our 6 objectives are, first, we want to make sure that we provide a great leadership for both Knoxville and for the system when the current interims leave. Leadership matters. I think we've heard Governor Haslam and former Lieutenant Governor Ramsey always talk about that leadership matters. And so we're in a process now of getting or searching for a new chancellor for the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. We should be having campus tours, meeting the top candidates sometime in May and making a decision by the end of May. I can tell you, for the record, that we have a great pool. We've got some exciting candidates. We're going to do well, and I'm excited about that. Next year, we'll be looking for my replacement. In both cases, we're going to be looking for some people that are transformative, looking for people that can be innovative. The world's changing. They have to be able to change with it. We're looking for people that can be generational. We want people that can be in the role for 10 years or longer. And that doesn't mean, by the way, for those who are thinking about this, we can have an 80-year-old that can be in the role for 10 years as well. We are going to look for people that are laser-focused on student success, and we're going to make sure that they understand how important it is to work together as a team. The University of Tennessee system is different, or differentiated. UT Chattanooga, UT Martin, the Health Science Center, Knoxville, each campus has a different mission. But when we work together, those differences can make us stronger, and we can learn from each other and make an even bigger impact. And so we're going to make sure that all of our leaders understand the power of being a team. Second objective is we've got to do a better job of talent development. One of the things that we do is provide more talent for the state. Again, I mentioned almost 12,000 graduates last year, but we want to do better. One of the things we want to focus on is graduating more students that show up. I always hate to bring up a negative, but I'll share it. On the one hand, those were record graduation rates for both UT Martin, Chattanooga, and for Knoxville. And by the way, UT Knoxville's 6-year graduation rate is the best in the state, but it's still not good enough. If you think about those numbers that I shared with you, that means that 1 out of every 2 students that show up at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, Martin, 1 out of every 4 that show up at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville with a dream of getting an education and having a better life fail. We can do better, and we will. And we've got a whole team of people all across the state that are focused on doing that. Our third objective is to improve our research. Again, it was a record year last year, but we can do so much more. We have the lab director, Thomas Zachariah, here with us today from Oak Ridge National Lab. He is passionate about our partnership and determined, like we are, to help expand it. And through that, and along with so many other ways, we're going to do so much more with the research capabilities that we have. Fourth, we're going to do a better job with our social impact across the state. Everywhere you look across the state of Tennessee, people are making an impact in our communities. But when we work together, we can do even more. Just recently, we had an opioid summit. We had people at the Health Science Center in Oak Ridge and at Knoxville and at the Medical Center in Knoxville, all doing really great, groundbreaking work on opioids, but they had never talked to each other. We're bringing these people together along with others, and I think together we can have an even bigger collective impact. Fifth, we just have to do what we do more efficiently. This isn't sexy or exciting, but sometimes you just got to focus on how we can do things in a more efficient way so we can have more dollars to invest in our students and our faculty, and we're doing that. And then finally, we want to work on our brand. I think if we do all the things we just talked about, I think our brand can be even stronger. We've got a good brand, but unfortunately sometimes the media will talk about the more sensational news of the day. But the fact is, we've got so many great stories to tell. If we can tell those stories, our brand can be even stronger, and I'm excited about that. So finally, thinking about building our brand and telling some exciting new stories, I'd like to share the big announcement with you. And to do that, I have to have my collaborators that have been working on this with us for the last 6 months. Chancellor Cross from UTIA, and Chancellor Carver from UT Martin, and Chancellor Engel from UT Chattanooga, and Chancellor Davis from UT Knoxville. If you guys could come up. Like everything that happens, it's always a team. And it's not just the chancellors, but a whole team of people all across the system have been debating and arguing and looking at ways in which we can make this happen. So what is it? So as you know, the University of Tennessee was created by the Morrill Act in 1860, or when the Morrill Act in 1862 was created, we became a land-grant university. And the Morrill Act charged us, gave us a mission to be a ladder up for the working class and the middle class. That's our role, to give people that may not have otherwise had an opportunity, like Alec, like myself, people that may not have had an opportunity, the opportunity to get an education, to be able to have a better career and a better life. That's what we're here to do. And we've done a great job of it over the last 150 years. In 2013, I got the opportunity and the honor of working with Governor Haslam. We helped create something called the Drive to 55. And I remember one of our meetings early on, we talked about this mission of taking the state from 32% post-secondary attainment to 55% by the year 2025. We mapped out all these strategies. There were 5, with a lot of different tactics around each one. I remember after a fairly long meeting talking through all these strategies and all these tactics, he looked at me and said, what do you think our biggest challenge is? What's our biggest obstacle to accomplishing this? And I thought about it for just a second, and I gave him an answer that the more I thought about it over the last 6 years, I think it was the right answer. And the answer I gave was, our biggest barrier, our biggest obstacle, our biggest challenge is our culture, a culture of low expectations. Too often, we don't believe enough in ourselves. We don't believe enough in our children. We don't believe, maybe because of financial barriers, that this is possible for them. We don't believe that a post-secondary education is possible for them. In the next year, Governor Haslam proposed the Tennessee Promise, and that began to change the culture. Now, every parent and every kindergartner can begin to start thinking about what life will look like with a college education. They can go to a technical college or any one of our 2-year colleges free of tuition and fees. We're the first state in the country to be able to do anything like that. And I believe that began to change the culture. People started dreaming that their children could go to college and get those skills and get a better life. But it's not enough, because so many young people also dream of going to the University of Tennessee. They dream of going to get a 4-year degree. They dream of being able to be an architect or a computer scientist or an engineer, or so many of those other skills that our economy and our state desperately need, but also that is only attainable at a 4-year school. So today we're here to announce the UT Promise. And hopefully we just have a big backdrop behind us. That's the no-look pass. Yeah. So the UT Promise is an opportunity for those people, those students that have all the academic qualifications to be able to have the right to come to one of our universities, but maybe they don't have the financial means. And so the UT Promise is for students that have the academic qualifications to be able to enter any one of our schools. They have earned hope, and they have a family income, household income of under $50,000. If you can academically earn the right to come, finance will not be an issue, because if you meet those qualifications, you'll be able to come to University of Tennessee Chattanooga, University of Tennessee Martin, or University of Tennessee Knoxville, free of tuition and fees. So, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Oh, you can go ahead. Thank you. So I want to share just a few things about it. One, we believe because of this that more students will be able to come. Even if they were thinking about it before, now maybe students in Tipton, or kindergartners in Tiptonville and in Sneedville that have always thought about going to the University of Tennessee but never thought they could, now can start thinking differently about their life and preparing themselves differently. It's also going to be able to help retain students. We talked about wanting to try to increase that graduation. One of the reasons why students drop out is because of finances. The least we can reduce you, our alumni, our faculty, our staff, to match one-to-one with each one of these students so they have the guidance they need to be successful. Many of them are going to be first-generation college students. And what that means is they can't go back to their family and get the guidance they need. But we, the University of Tennessee family, is going to make up for that. We're going to step up and provide them that guidance and support that they need. We're also going to make sure that they give a little back. For every semester, they're going to do 4 hours worth of service learning. And that's important, not only to give back, but also I think that's part of their educational experience. So we're excited about what we're able to offer the students. It's going to be a program that we're going to introduce in the fall of 2020. A few other things to note. So it'll count for all the high school seniors coming in as a freshman, but it also counts for transfer students. So if you're in the Tennessee Promise, you're in a community college anywhere across the state, and you want to transfer to any one of our universities, you will be able to transfer in and also get free tuition and fees. And if you're already currently enrolled in the University of Tennessee and you meet those qualifications, you also earn the right to be able to be a UT Promise Scholar and be able to attend free of tuition and fees. We're excited about this. We're excited about our future. I'm excited that you guys could be here. We're looking forward to rolling up our sleeves and getting to work to help support these students and faculty and everyone that's going to be a part of this program. I'll just conclude by saying, the state of Tennessee is strong, the state of the University of Tennessee is strong, and the promise of the University of Tennessee is even stronger. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Good job, man. Thank you. Good job.